this is Nancy Bach here at Deep Discount again, and today we have a very special unboxing. It is the complete Beethoven edition. If you are a Beethoven fan, you are going to love this. And I even love this and would love to walk away with this, even though my last name is Bach. That may cause some problems at home. But I wanted to show you this. It has an amazing amount of content. There are 90 CD discs. That's over 100 hours of music. And there are things in this compilation that you cannot find anywhere else. So let me open it up first and show you what's inside, and then we can talk about some of the fabulous content that is in here. And I'm going to try not to cut my fingers and bleed because it's white, not a problem. I get it all over my white blouse. You know, I'm not allowed to wear white blouses. There's a reason. All right, let's get this open. It's a really well-designed case too. It's heavy, it's solid, and it will hold the DVDs. They are organized, as you can see, by color. I'm going to show you the inside lid. You've got vocal, choral, stage, chamber music, keyboard, all of the different kinds of organ and piano music that he created, the concertos, and orchestral pieces. There are on the last CD, which is one of my favorites, there are pieces on here, there are musical jokes, there are sketches and pieces that he composed, that he wrote, that have never been recorded before. So you're getting an inside look into the mind of Beethoven with some of these absolutely never before seen and heard pieces. And I think you're really going to enjoy them. First off, we have the booklet. I'm going to show you that. It's got all the track listings, information on the artists and the orchestras and the conductors that they used. Naxos did a fabulous job finding immensely talented people, some of the top people in their field, to perform these works. There are also some pictures and some biographical information on Beethoven. He isn't just the guy from Peanuts. You probably know that. It's just historical information on each of the different kinds of works, the concertos, the choral pieces, the stage pieces. I actually had heard the Ruins of Athens a long time ago, probably in college, and did not know that it was Beethoven. In this edition, you will find a narrated, the first ever narrated version of the Ruins of Athens. You have to listen to this. I'm going to lay out some of the CDs. As I mentioned, they are color-coded. You've got symphonies, pastoral, you've got choral. I'm really terrible at laying out things neatly for y'all. I mean, look at this. Now we have the piano concertos, the romances, the numbers 2 and 5, and the Emperor. Oh, that is a magnificent piece. Very powerful stuff. Then we've got, I'm doing these backwards. You've got the keyboard works, dances, bagatelles, sonatas. I mean, look at the wealth of music that you have here. It's unbelievable. And this man was so young when he died, by modern standards. And he spent the last good decade of his life deaf and still managed to continue to compose and create. He had stopped performing by about 1925 or 26, I believe, or excuse me, 1825 or 26. He had stopped performing in public, but he was still in his exile out there composing and creating music that he could not hear. And not just on the piano, but choral works as well. I mean, he was a genius. Began performing professionally at the age of 6 at his father's behest. These are all the chamber concerts, the chamber music. I can't even display the discs. There's so many of them. It's just a big giant stack. And his father was apparently, his name was Johann, he was quite the taskmaster. He was utilizing the techniques that he had seen Mozart's father use in demanding constant practices and performances from a young Beethoven. He had one teacher who would get Beethoven up in the middle of the night to practice at the piano, drag him from his bed. There was no rest for this man, but he was a genius, and I think despite rather rigorous discipline his father instilled, it paid off in the end. I don't recommend it, but it did pay off. Here we have the stage performances. There were not a lot of them, but they were quite powerful. And then we have the choral works, which I think you're all familiar with. Lovely, wonderful works. And then the vocal. Irish songs, Welsh songs, Scottish songs. I mean, can you imagine? It's as isolated as the world was in those days, to be able to connect with cultures that were not his own, that were far away from his home, and do these wonderful compositions based on those folk cultures. There's no more versatility than that. It's genius. Of course, also included are the ones that you know best, the Moonlight Sonata. I have notes because there's just too much here to remember. For Release, the Eroica Symphony, the Emperor's Piano Concerto, the last thing that he wrote, I believe professionally, which was the Missa Solemnis. The Fifth Symphony, and we all are familiar with that one. You hear it on TV all the time. There's so much in here. And I did want to mention the artists and the conductors of the symphonies that were used in these performances are magnificent, and ones that you will be familiar with. There's the Royal Symphony Orchestra. There is the Kodali Quartet. We've got the Czech Chamber Philharmonic. We've got the Slovak Philharmonic Orchestra. We've got the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. Some brilliant players and conductors. World-renowned soloists. We've got Martin Gelling, Larry Wang, Patrick Galois, Boris Giltberg, Amy and Sarah Heyman, Nina Tishman. She is one of the premier pianists of our day and age, and you are going to enjoy her playing very much. All of this is included in this magnificent set. I am very, very excited myself to hear some of those sketches and some of those musical jokes, little oddities that he put together that really, I think, give a flavor of Beethoven's personality, the force of his genius. And it's stuff that we've never heard before, that hasn't been heard in hundreds of years. And that it's a legacy, and it teaches you so much about who he was as a man and how he came to be one of the most famous composers of all time, where even in common culture, we have recognition of him through Peanuts, through commercials on television. I mean, I don't think he had any idea when he died that he would become this icon of classical music, of music that lives beyond his generation and beyond many generations to come. This collection will satisfy your desire for Beethoven. And it's at a great price at deep discount. I highly recommend that you go out, you pick it up, and you can spend hours and hours, happy hours, listening to this magnificent music. So please, come to deep discount and enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you next time.